Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We have studied so far three types of adverbs: adverb of manner, adverbs of time, and adverbs of place. Now we will move towards adverbs of frequency. Clear? Another type of an adverb we are going to talk today that is called adverbs of frequency. You can call it adverbs of frequency or frequency adverbs. Clear? Both are correct. Either if you want to call them adverbs of frequency or frequency adverbs. So both of them are correct. Adverb of frequency, it tells us, it talks about that how many times an action repeats itself, or it talks about the repetition of an action. You do, you perform, you do an action. So how many times an action has been performed? Look, for example, I eat rice. How many times in a week? I eat rice twice in a week. So now can you see this action of eating rice, it repeats itself how many times? Twice, 2 times in a week. So we say that adverbs of frequency are what? Are those adverbs, they are used for what? To show that how many times an action repeats itself. Are you getting it? Clear? So let's talk about it. Adverb of frequency is sometimes called frequency adverbs, describes how often or how many times. Clear? How often means how many times an action happens. They can describe what? 2 things. Number 1, it describes verb, and number 2, it describes an adjective, but they do not modify what? Adverb. Adverb of frequency, clear, they do not modify other adverbs. So like for example, let's take some of the examples of adverb of frequencies. These are adverb of frequencies: always, sometimes, often, frequently, normally, generally, usually, occasionally, seldom, rarely. Clear? Scarcely, hardly, hardly ever, never. So these are called what? We call them adverbs of frequency. Like for example, let's take some of the example here. They sometimes eat rice. They sometimes eat rice. Now can you see here, eat is what? It's a verb. We want to talk about the repetition of eating rice. So what we have used here? Sometimes. Now the word sometimes, we call it what? We call it an adverb of frequency. Very good. I never smoke cigarette. Smoke is verb. How many times I smoke cigarette? I never. 0 repetition of an action. Clear? 0 repetition of what? An action. I usually get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So what time? Usually. Clear? Get up at 6 o'clock. So usually it's called adverb of frequency. Now let's talk about the types of adverb of frequency. Clear? What we want to talk about? So adverb of frequency are generally divided into how many types? Into 2 types. Number 1 we call definite adverb, clear, of frequency, and the second one is indefinite. Definite frequency adverbs, and the second one we call indefinite. Now the word definite, if you want to talk about the word definite, definite means what? Known. Definite means what? Known. Definite means understood. Definite means what? Clear. Clear? And what I mean by indefinite, indefinite means unknown. It's unknown. It's not clear, not understood, or unclear. So we call them indefinite. Definite, malum. Indefinite, na malum. So we can say, let's talk about the first one, adverbs of, which adverb? Adverb of definite frequency. Clear? The first one, definite one. So adverbs of definite frequency describes a specific or exact repetition of an action. They talk about what? Exact repetition of an action or specific repetition of an action. Like for example, if I say 2 times, I eat rice twice. Is it exact or not? How many times? 2 times. 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Daily, once in a week, twice in a week, once in a month, twice in a month. So this is called what? Exact repetition of an action. Like for example, if I say, I meet my parents once in a week. So how many times I meet my parents in a week? Once. So is it exact or not? If I say I meet my parents twice in a week, how many times? 2 times. So what is twice now? It's exact. Clear? It's definite. So definite adverb of frequencies are what? Are those, clear? They are called what? We call them definite adverb of frequency, because it tells us the exact repetition of an action. And what are they? We can say yearly, annually, clear? Biannually, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, hourly, every minute, every second, once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. We call all of them what? We call them definite adverbs of frequency. What do we call them? Definite adverbs of frequency, because it talks about the exact repetition of an action. I can say yearly. So yearly is 1. Clear? It's exact. Twice. Clear? Twice. 4 times, 5 times. So that's why we can say that they are called what? Definite adverbs of frequency. Is it clear? Now we want to talk about adverb of frequency. Definite frequency modifies what? It modifies verbs, clear? And it appears at the beginning, clear? Or number 1, at the beginning, or they appear, number 2, where? At the end. The ly adverbs only at the beginning, clear? Remember the position of adverb of definite frequency. You need to understand the positions, clear? What position? Number 1 position is they come in the beginning, and they come where? In the end of a sentence. But if an adverb, it ends with what? If it ends with ly. Like for example, if I say daily, daily, weekly, monthly, they end with what? With ly, clear? So these adverbs that end with ly, they will only come where? At the end. Clear? They will only and only, they will appear which place? At the end, not in the beginning. Rest of adverb of frequency, definite frequency, they can be used in both places, in the beginning and in the end. But adverbs of definite frequency, if they end with ly, they will only come in which place? At the end, not in the beginning. Let's take an example. For example, I run 8 miles daily. How? Daily, clear? I run. How many times I run? Daily I run. Clear? So this action of running, it repeats itself daily. So what is daily in this case? Definite adverb of definite frequency. And can you see it ends where? With ly. It ends where? With ly. And I have used where? At the end. Now, for example, if I use it like in this way, daily, clear? So we don't use it at the beginning, clear? So we don't use it in the beginning, clear? We use it only where? Which place? At the end. Look, every year, now we don't have any ly. So we have used in the beginning. Every year, our office holds, clear, a big raffle for charity. She cooks rice once in a week. So we can use in the beginning as well and the end. But can you see this one? Hourly. It ends with what? With ly. Hourly, you need to update me on your progress. So this one is what? It's incorrect. Why? Because this adverb of definite frequency, it ends with ly. I can say, you need to update me on your progress hourly. So hourly, it is used at the end. This is correct. But in the beginning, we cannot use it. Is this clear? Remember that as we study that adverb of definite frequency, clear, there are adverb of frequency that ends with what? With ly. And the same way, adverb of frequency that ends with ly, it also functions as an adjective. It has got dual function. It can function the same way as an adverb, and it can also function as an adjective. So now you have studied like in more detail about an adjective. When it will function as an adjective? Very good. When a noun is used after them. It's very simple. When a noun is used after ly, then we call it what? Adjective. But when there is no noun after them, they will function as an adverb. Excellent. Look here. There are some of the examples that what I have used for you people. The most clear that most of the adverbs like ly can also function as an adjective. Like yearly meetings. Yearly meetings. What is meetings? It's a noun. Yearly now function is what? Adjective. Like monthly report. Hourly updates. Hourly updates. Like for example, if I say, I need hourly updates, clear? Or if I say, update me hourly. Update you how many times? Hourly. Now can you see? Hourly, we don't use. So this is an adverb. But in the first one, its function is what? Hourly. It's an adjective. Why? Because what is used after this? Updates. Noun is used here. Is this clear? Like take an example here. Ayan prepares monthly report. What is reports? Noun. Monthly is an adjective. Yearly meeting. They only join yearly meetings. The manager wants hourly updates. Clear? The admin presents daily reports to the manager. Daily is what? It's a clear? It's an adjective because what is used after them? Noun, reports. Is this clear to all of you now? Very good. The second one we want to talk about, second type of an adverb of frequency. What was the first one? Definite adverb of frequency. Now second one is called what? Indefinite adverb of frequency. Clear? Indefinite means what? Unknown, not specific. Yes, before like in the beginning I told you. Unknown, we can say indefinite means what? Unknown, unclear, clear, unspecific you can say. Unspecific. So we can say that indefinite adverbs of frequency are those adverbs which do not show us exact or specific repetition of an action. They do not show us what? Exact repetition of an action or state. Definite one shows exact repetition of an action. But indefinite, they do not show us exact one. Clear? So we call them what? Indefinite. Like for example, how it indefinite? Let me give you an example. I teach, for example, I teach English. How many times? Daily, for example. What is daily now here? Definite adverb. Which adverb? Definite adverb of frequency. This is called definite because it is the exact repetition of an action. But if I say, I sometimes teach English. Now, which one is an adverb here? Sometimes it's called an adverb. What type? Indefinite. Why? Because the repetition of an action is not specific. It's not clear. So we will call it what? That sometimes is called indefinite adverb of frequency. Like, let's take some of the indefinite adverb of frequencies. Clear? We want to take some of the examples. Indefinite adverb of frequency, clear? They can modify words. What they can modify? they can modify verbs. Like for example, Alaya always runs late for work in the morning. Alaya does what? She always run. Always is called what? Adverb of frequency. I never get what I want. I never get. How many times repetition? 0%. We seldom. Adverb of frequency. He travels to Europe frequently. What is frequently now? It's an adverb of frequency. Clear? Now, adverb of frequency can also modify what? They can also modify adjectives. How? Look, I'm always late for work. I'm always late for work. What is late? It's an adjective. And this always modifies what? Adjective, not word. In the above one, she always runs. It modifies word. She always runs. Clear? But in the second one, I'm always late for work. It modifies here an adjective. Like for example, the dog is rarely quiet. What is quiet? It's an adjective. Clear? It's an adjective. And what is rarely? It's an adverb. The trains, clear? The trains are occasionally late. Late is called an adjective. Occasionally is what? Very good. Clear? So it modifies what? It modifies an adjective. Is it clear? Now, here are adverb of frequency is a definite adverb of frequency. You can see the chart. Always, we use always at a time when an action is happening 100%. Like if you say that Ali always comes to the class on time. So this action is repeating 100%. Number two, if you say Ali usually comes to the class on time, it means there is 80%, sometimes even like he comes late to the class. If you say he normally comes to the class, clear? He comes, so there is 70%. But if you say he often comes late to the class, it means 60%, 40% he comes late, clear? He sometimes comes on time, 40%. And if you say he occasionally comes, you can say that, for example, you are friends, clear? And you have got third friend. And you want to ask another friend, do you meet Ali? And you tell him what? I occasionally meet him. It means 10%. I occasionally, clear? You can say I seldom meet them, or I rarely meet them. I hardly ever meet them, like 5%. And never is what? There is 0. I never meet Ali. I never meet Ali, 0% of repetition of an action. Is this clear? All right, now we want to talk about possessions of adverb of what? Frequency. We want to talk about possessions that in a sentence where we can use what? Where we can use adverb of frequencies. What are the possessions in a sentence? Clear? Number one, we often place adverbs of frequencies, clear? Yeah, number one is what? This is rule number one. Before the main verb, clear? Let me write down before what? Main verb. When you have main verb, we use it before main verb. Number one thing. Whenever you want to use adverb of frequencies, so we use them before what? Main verb. Like watch is what here? Main verb. Eats is what? Main verb. Read is what? Main verb. And then we have watch is called main verb. So can you all see here? I sometimes watch. Watch. So it is used before main verb. She never eats. Eats is main verb. We use before it. I always read. It will be incorrect if you want to use it like this. She eats never mangoes. This is incorrect. Can you see? I have used adverb of frequency where? After main verb. And we do not use it after main verb. It will be used before main verb. This one is incorrect then. Is this clear now? All right. Number second rule is if you have be verbs, clear, auxiliary verbs. So we use them after, before main verb and after auxiliary verbs. Like auxiliary, if you have what be verbs, SMR, was, were. So we will use after them, not before them. How? Like for example, I'm always worried about my study clear result. So which one is the verb there? Man. M. M is called what? Auxiliary verb. So auxiliary verb is used here. She is. Auxiliary verb. She is. Again is auxiliary verb. You are. Auxiliary verb. And we have used adverb of frequency where? After auxiliary verbs. Is it clear? You cannot use after, before auxiliary verb. Like you cannot say she usually is very happy. This is incorrect. Clear? This is not correct. Because I used this as auxiliary verb and I used it before what? Before that of auxiliary verb. This is wrong. Third case, let's talk about the third one. Rule number third. When a verb has helping verb, clear? The adverb goes after the first part of the verb. What did I say? That if you have moral auxiliary verbs or auxiliary verbs, clear? Not SMR. I'm not talking. Adverb of frequency is used only before be verbs, to be verbs, SMR. But if you have auxiliary verb like can, must, should, do, does, we use after them. How? Like for example, look here. If I say drivers should, can you see? Should. Should is what? It's moral auxiliary verb. And what is where here? It's man verb. It is used after auxiliary and before man verb. Are you getting it? You cannot use before auxiliary or after man verb. It would be used after moral auxiliary and before man verb. And this Ayan doesn't usually smoke. You cannot say Ayan usually doesn't smoke. You will use it what? After auxiliary verbs and before man verb. Is this clear to all of you? Third rule. Four number rule. Sometimes we use frequency adverbs at the beginning of the sentence as well. How? Always wash your hands before the meal. Always wash. Always. Whenever adverb is used in the beginning of a sentence, it emphasizes. Yesterday I told you, like the rule is same for everyone. When adverb is used in the beginning of a sentence, it emphasizes what I'm talking. Always wash your hands before the meal. I'm talking about what? The repetition of an action. An adverb. Clear? Do this regularly. For example, often he walked. Sometimes I go. Clear? Sometimes I go skating. Rule number 5 we have. Sometimes we use frequency adverbs at the end of a sentence. Where? At the end of a sentence. We read books occasionally. They like to watch TV often. We go to school by bike sometimes. Is this clear? So it was all about adverb of what? Adverbs of frequency. So we study about adverb of frequency, first definition of it. Then we talked about types. How many types of adverb of frequency? 2. Number 1, definite adverb. Number 2, indefinite. And then we talked about position of using adverb of frequency. Is it clear?